So I was checking my email today, and this one email in particular caught my eye. And it's all about creating fonts using an AI generator. And it kind of just like piqued my curiosity. It's free to use, and I thought, well, why don't I just give it a try and see if the fonts are actually cute or if they're cringy? The tool that I'll be using is offered by Creative Fabrica. If you don't have an account with them, I'll put a link in the description below so you can get started really quick. If you're not familiar with Creative Fabrica, it's a site where you can get all kinds of different like clip art and fonts and images and things to use in your artwork, or if you make like crafts and things like that. They also have classes and video tutorials and all kinds of stuff. Go check it out and see if it's something that works for you. Okay, here we are over on the website. And I want to see how we can start maybe with like, if we have something in mind. Okay, try it. I see down here you can pick like different kinds of fonts. So let's try that and just choose like, I'm going to see what it does for script because those can be kind of hard, especially when you need them to connect. They have a section down here with all the frequently asked questions, like if you can use the fonts on your website, if you can use them for printed and digital designs, for commercial projects, that kind of thing. So take a look through here, make sure you understand all this stuff before you go to like sell it or anything like that. These might not even be like good enough to sell. Let's try it. I have a feeling they're going to be cringy, but let's just try. Okay, so this month they are having a free trial kind of thing. It's open to everyone for free. They give you 5,000 coins. I've tried a couple of fonts already to see how this works. So it's 1,000 coins per font if you save it. I've saved 2 because I want to try them in like a bigger document and see how they look, because then it'll really point out what the problem areas versus just seeing like a little bit of a preview on here. So you'll start with 5,000 coins up here when you create your account and get started. So even though I clicked script, I don't really see anything here indicating that it's actually going to make script fonts. So let's just see what happens. At first, I didn't really know where to go. I thought there would be some kind of like prompt I could type in or something like that. But you can't really do anything. You have to just click this little airplane button here and it'll automatically generate your font for you. And then you just kind of like see if you like it. And they came out like pretty random. Like I didn't really get to adjust things with like the style and things like that. So you'll see what I mean in a sec here. Okay, so let's just see what they came up with. I'm going to click the little airplane thingy here and see what they give me. Okay, so it's doing something down here. All right, so, I mean, at first glance, this is kind of cute. I wouldn't say it's script, so I don't know why I even had the option to click script at the very, like, front page. But a couple things point out to me right away, like this T. It's just, like, way too bold, and it's also not lining up on, like, the bottom ledger line here. And I don't know, it just looks kind of funny. It looks almost like a typewriter when you hit the key and it like is a little bit uneven or something, which could be nice if that's what you're going for. Also, the Z looks kind of bold and the Y, but then the A is little. So I would say like maybe those need to be adjusted. But if you're going for kind of like a old-fashioned typewriter kind of thing, then I guess it could work. So then they allow you to take a peek down here. Well, okay, so first you can type in custom text here if you want to see more. And this is just like already by default, it does the quick brown fox jumps over the lazy dog. It's always like a nice test for all your letters and whatever. And then they show you numbers. And then down here is your glyph grid. So if there are letters that you don't like, such as the T, you can go down here and regenerate those. So you could take a peek through and like it actually looks fine right here, but it doesn't look fine when it's typed out. Like maybe that's because it's a capital T. Let's see. What if we made it a lowercase? Okay, so then it does stay in line. Since this is all caps, I don't see the point of making like a capital T there, but I guess that's why it was bigger and looked a little funny. So if I make it a lowercase, then it actually looks fine. So I don't think I want to regenerate that. These are your lowercase letters. It says it right here. It's kind of not that obvious at first because they made this font all caps. Okay, so then down here are all the uppercase letters. So I guess what you would want to do is also write the sentence in all caps and see if there's any there that have any problems. Is it dog or cat? Okay, well, we're just going to say dog. Okay, so now look at the Z again and the Y, and the A is smaller. So this is kind of bothering me right here. If I was doing a font by hand, I would never leave it this way. It's always going to point out. I don't know. I think it's partially like a problem because the A is a little bit smaller, but also these ones are a little bit bolder. So I think it's a combination of problems here that's making it look kind of funky. But now at least you know which capital letters to go take a peek at down here in the grid. So here's our uppercase letters. And let's say if we wanted to regenerate, like, I feel like the A is small, and okay, it is. So it's above the line. Like, look at the B. See how it goes like a little bit below the baseline and about like halfway up here. And then the A looks okay up there, but down here it's a little bit small. So that's why it looks weird. So if you want to adjust it, you can just hit regenerate and it'll make like an alternate for you. And then you can choose whether you want to accept it or not. The problem is that it no longer shows you the baseline, so you can't compare really to see if they fixed it. And the other problem is that it won't preview this for you. So if you go, let's say accept. So if I go back up here, you can see there's a little message here that previews don't work when you regenerate the glyphs. Well, that's kind of a problem. So like, what's the point of even regenerating it if you can't double check it to see if you like it better? So I don't really like that. And then I guess we should try the Z. Sometimes when it regenerates, it's kind of like doesn't match. Like they'll remove the serifs and suddenly it'll just be like without any serif down here and it no longer matches the font. I found that a couple of times. So keep an eye out for that. But anyway, let's regenerate the Z and see how that looks. And again, it's short. That's why it looks weird. Well, now my preview is blurred out. Okay. Well, it doesn't look short here. It actually looks fine. So yeah, I guess it's okay. It is within these two, so it's fine. But let's just regenerate it because it looked a little bit bold. Like the diagonal line in here was the same thickness as the top and stuff. It just looked kind of funny. So I don't really like the one that regenerated any better. Let's just try again. And you can hit regenerate as many times as you need to, I think. So that might be okay. There's really like no way to tell because you can't preview it. So you kind of just have to like take your best guess and see what looks good and then download the font to test it. But when you download it, you're going to use 1,000 of your coins. You can see it used them already, but if I don't save this font, it'll give them back. So I don't know. Let's just try that one. I'm just going to accept that one. And you can kind of like scroll back through the regenerated images and see if there's one you like better. I'm just going to try that one. So I'll hit accept. And then you can also check out the numbers and the punctuation. It has like, I guess limited punctuation. Is this all the characters? I'm not sure. Anyway, so then you can also see what it looks like on different colored backgrounds. So if you think you might want to use it as like a white on a black background or something like that, you can preview it. I don't really know if this helps that much. Like usually you can kind of just see if you like it or not based on like the black and white. And then if you download it here, it will use your coins. If you discard it, like you don't really want to save it, then it'll give your coins back. I think that this one could be cute, but there's already a lot of problems with like how it looks kind of wonky. But it could work as a typewriter kind of font, so I don't know. So if you want to download, just click this button here, and then it'll save onto your computer. These are some that I downloaded earlier. Over here on your left side panel, you can see the fonts that you have saved or the one that you're working on. I'm probably going to discard this one, but these are some that I saved earlier so I could try them out on a larger document and not just have it like testing on here with just this one sentence. And then we can go ahead and try to upload those into like Canva or onto the iPad or something and just try them out. So there was one I wanted to show you from earlier, and I think it's this one. So right away, if you notice the word brown. Look at the W. Like that's kind of crazy. So just watch for things like that. But then there's also other letters like this W. It's pretty obvious if it looks like this that you need to regenerate it and try to fix it. But look when it regenerated, now it's like, I feel like it doesn't match as well. Like I would have liked if it was like a W with the serifs on the top here, but now it's more like a cursive kind of thing. And then I made this one as well, but I don't really know if I like that. So it takes some like playing around with, but sometimes there's mistakes that aren't as obvious. So take a look at this letter I. Like at first it might look fine to you, but then if you look closely, like the dot is attached to the I. I would never do that if I was hand drawing a font. So I don't like that at all. So I hit regenerate and then it turned it to like, I don't know, like this pentagon shape. And then this thing that looked like a star, it's still attached. Like I don't like how it's attaching the dots. And then finally I got this. But I think that it's too small. But there's no way for me to tell because they don't show you like the baseline preview here anymore so you can compare. So that's kind of a problem. But I went ahead and I downloaded this font so that I could test it out and see. And if it still has like problems, then you could always use this as a point to work from to generate your own fonts by hand. I have a video for that, how to make your own fonts using different software and, draw them by hand or on your iPad. And I can link it up here in this video in case you're interested in that. And I feel like this could be a useful tool as kind of like a starting point if you're not sure how you want to form your letters and things like that. Then you could use this for ideas, but I don't know that it's there yet for actually making like a font from scratch and then going ahead and just using it straight from this because there's just too many problems. And if you do want to make these to sell, I would suggest like checking these very closely for problems and mistakes. I feel like the market's going to start becoming flooded with crappy fonts because people will just come on here and make whatever, like it's quick and easy. And somebody who isn't really like trained to make fonts or in this area can just, easily and quickly make all these different fonts and post them for sale. So I feel like it's going to become where if you buy fonts, you're going to have to closely look and make sure there's not like weird characters included like this where the dots are connected and other ones just have like weird jaggedy lines and just things that don't look very attractive. Like if you were hand drawing a font, you probably would never do it. But if somebody's just going on here to make the fonts quick and get them posted for sale, like for example, this N, like what is this little piece on the edge here? I don't like that at all. I think it looks bad unless you're going for something that's like inky and suppose it'll look like that, but the other letters don't have that. So to me, this looks unprofessional and gross. So if you plan to use this to sell your fonts, first of all, read through the terms, make sure you're allowed to do that. And then second of all, check your fonts and make sure it doesn't have like gross bits like this before you do it so that you don't look unprofessional. Another thing I wanted to test on here real quick before I upload my font somewhere else to test it. I thought that maybe I could type like a whole paragraph of text here to preview it, but you can't really. It got about 2 lines before it cuts off. But then it does sort of depend what size you're previewing it at. So if you preview it really little, then you can fit more text in here to kind of like see how it looks all together. But it's so small that it's hard to see without zooming in. So it might be better to download it and test it in different software. Unless you really don't want to pay the fee to download it, then you could just keep typing more and more and then just preview your text really little. Like this is 16 point. You could go down to like 8 and then maybe zoom in and see how it looks when it's all typed out in a sentence or a paragraph. So I don't know. I just wanted to test that out because I was curious. Okay, I reached the limit. So I was able to type all of this and it displays like 2 and a partial line. I'm going to download it and type it in to like Procreate or Canva or something. But right away, like look at this M. Oh, it defaulted back to those ugly W's. Can you see that? I can't zoom in any further. And also the M was so weird. Let me just show you in the glyph preview real quick because it was just terrible. So this is the one I regenerated. What in the world is this? First of all, the downstroke is like skinny. And plus, it's not even a downstroke anymore. It's like up. I don't know. I hate this so much. It kind of looks like the McDonald's logo, not in a good way. So anyway, I regenerated that one. And because you can't view your regenerated glyphs in the preview, I'm stuck seeing the ugly McDonald's arch knockoff. The other thing I wanted to show you was when I regenerated, see how it like kind of made weird options. This thing, it didn't really match. Like I wanted it to have like the straight serifs on that to match the rest, and instead it made like this curly, I don't know. I feel like this doesn't really work. So I ended up just choosing this one, even though this one has no serifs. So it doesn't match either. Neither does my N. I also hated the N, so I regenerated that. So as you can see, this just has a few problems that maybe it's not quite there yet to be used as a standalone tool. This is in beta. In all fairness, it's like free to try it out because it's a beta version that they're just getting feedback on and having people try. So it's not perfect yet by any means, but maybe it could be good for a starting point if you wanted to create your own fonts by hand. Okay, I'm over here on Canva. I created a new document and just added a text box. I want to upload my font here. I think this is a Canva Pro feature only. I can put a link in the description to Canva, so if you wanted to try it, then you can look there. So I'm going to push upload font and then just navigate to where I downloaded my fonts. Okay, so here is one that I downloaded. Let's just give it a try. I can't remember which one this is. I think it's the script one. So the one that I was just showing you. So I think it's in here and I forgot to rename it. So it's named something like just very generic. Let's see. Uploaded fonts. Okay, here it is. My decorative font. I think that's it. It's kind of little, so let's just preview it a little bigger. Okay, and then we can just create a paragraph to test it. Okay, this is what I came up with. And I see that this isn't exactly how I wanted it to look. I don't like this W. I kind of hate this W. I really hate this W. I also kind of hate this M. Like, it's kind of looks like it's a nice curve when it's bigger, but then when you have it like regular size, it looks like this odd like stroke that goes up and then kind of just like stops, and then this comes down, and I just don't think it flows nicely. Maybe I'm biased because it's AI. I also noticed the J, the dots connecting. I think we talked about that though. And what else? The R. So at first glance, it's like, all right. I wasn't able to preview that one because I had to change it and then I couldn't preview it. But then when it's zoomed out a little, it looks kind of like more bold to me than the other ones. And I also don't really like how these don't connect. It's supposed to be a script, but it's cursive, but then they don't connect. But you can kind of work around that by adjusting like the space between the letterings. I think you can do it in here. Yeah. So letter spacing, and I can just kind of like fake it and kind of squish them in to make it look like it's cursive and they are actually connecting. Like that's not too bad, but there's still going to be some letters that aren't connecting properly that you might just have to deal with, and like the D, how it doesn't connect to the J, but the other letters look okay. The F is too high. So you can see it's like an okay starting point. But if you really want to use this tool, I think you'll have to rework it a little bit to get it perfect if you want to sell it or have it in your professional work. Or maybe I'm just a perfectionist and that's just me, but I would not use this because I have a problem with a few of the letters here that I would need to rework because it makes it hard to read. Like this looks like the word bull, B-U-L-L instead of fool, things like that. So just keep that in mind when you're using like any kind of AI tools that you're probably going to have to, for now, have some human interference with it too and double check it. You know, you might have to adjust it a little bit to make it perfect or sellable or usable in your commercial work. But there are a lot of interesting tools out there in the AI world, and sometimes it's fun to explore what all they have when it's helpful or like something that could help you in your work, but I don't think it's going to replace humans anytime soon, and hopefully not ever. All right. I hope that this helped you. Let me know in the comments what you thought.